Hey everybody, this is Betsy Baker, and I'm here with Sean Evans at Back to the Movies. We are standing on the edge tonight. Make the wings so we can fly. Standing over the edge, falling over the edge. Yeah, yeah. We are hanging on the edge tonight. Need 1,000 wings to fly. Standing over the edge.
So tonight on Back to the Movies, we are joined by Betsy Baker, the lovely lady famous for her role in The Evil Dead and one of the stars of upcoming indie horror film Lake Eerie. How are you tonight, Betsy?
I'm good, Sean. How are you?
I'm very good because I met this lady called Betsy Baker and I taught her how to do Skype on a cell phone, and now she's doing a Skype on a PC, and it's unbelievable.
I know. Believe me, you are speaking true words. It's truly unbelievable. I've learned so much today, and you have been a part of really making this a red letter day, so thank you.
No problem at all. I'm glad I was a part of it. So can you give all of our lovely viewers an overview of what Lake Eerie is all about?
Well, sure, I think I can. You know, we have to leave some to the imagination, but Lake Eerie is a horror thriller of a young woman trying to readjust and get on with a new life after a tragic incident in her life. And she's really willing to put her feet forward, and she just stumbles at every step. She doesn't actually stumble. Things are put out in front of her that stumble her. From the moment she buys this piece of property on Lake Eerie.
Okay, fantastic. Now, looking back on the production of the movie, I mean, what was the fondest memory that you've got being on set?
Oh, the fondest memory. Gosh,
I threw in a curveball for you there. I didn't ask you in that one.
Curveball here. The fondest memory. Well, I have to tell you, the house was enchanting. They say the house was haunted, but the house was enchanting. It was. I grew up on Lake Michigan, and it was indeed a house on the lake. I mean, there was a huge porch and old rattan furniture and a big old kitchen and windows that looked out onto the lake, which were forever calm the entire time I was there. So that was one of the most fondest memories. I mean, we were right. There could not have been a set or a stage that was made or reproduced any better than this actual home on Lake Eerie.
Yeah, I remember you saying, I mean, it must have been so creepy to like hear all the stories about the house and then for you to be in there and experience it yourself. I mean, you said earlier that it kind of took you back. I mean, there was lots of 1950s, kind of 1940s kind of things littered around the house. I mean, did it feel like you were stepping back in time, and did you feel a presence in the house at all?
Oh, I was absolutely stepping back in time. I mean, I walked onto the set. It was an active day of shooting, and I walked on and I walked around the house, other parts of the house, just to get my feel of the property when they were shooting in a room. And I said, wow, this has not been touched in 30 or 40 or 50 years. And it wasn't dirty and unclean. It was just things had been sat there and read. Magazines had been read and fingered through and then placed on a coffee table and never moved again. It truly was moving back, stepping back in time. And I had heard stories that the house was haunted, and over lunch and over meals when we were taking break, they would tell me stories of just even what the crew experienced. Fortunately, when I wasn't on the set, so I made it a vow to myself when I was off rehearsing a scene or a few lines. Once I heard those stories, I was never afraid, but I just vowed that I would never be in a room by myself, day or night.
I can totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Now, the character you play in Lake Eerie is a character called Eliza. I mean, did you find any inspiration for the eccentric Eliza from anywhere or anyone in particular?
Well, there's moments where I feel I'm very, very eccentric, and I think there are people that live a perfectly normal life but have little quirks and tweaks within their own life that you can pull and grab. And I just loved the character of Eliza, and I loved how she was just such an offshoot from this very calm and sweet character played by Meredith Majors. And it provided a lot of fun and a lot of twists.
Now, were there any similarities with first-time director Sam Raimi, obviously from The Evil Dead, and Chris Majors, who is the director of Lake Eerie?
Wow, great question. I think there's just a real
purity and honesty with first-time directors. And I haven't worked with a lot of first-time directors, but I have worked with Sam Raimi, and I had a fabulous experience with Chris and Meredith. But Chris was just so easygoing, and it was so easy for him to explain what he wanted in a scene, and was so polite in what he didn't want, or in terms of take 2, take 3, take 4, that it was just a pleasure to redo something that was, unpleasant or scary or with a knife or whatever. Chris was great. Chris was great. He's a great director, and he's going to be even greater.
Okay, brilliant. I mean, the Kickstarter campaign only went live yesterday and was fully funded within the first 5 hours, which is unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, they're even going into stretch goals now already after the first day. I mean, what would you say to potential donators who are watching this interview right now to convince them to pledge to this movie?
Donate. All they're trying to do is just put some extra final touches, a lot of glistening and a lot of glitter on this, and it's such a great story, and the scenery and the backdrops and the locations are so wonderful, and the depth of the story and the characters portrayed. So be a part of Lake Eerie and put your toes in and donate.
I like it. What other projects are you currently working on that you can tell us about at the moment?
Gosh, I have a small recurring part on a U.S. soap opera here called Days of Our Lives.
Oh wow, fantastic!
And I've done some TV in this last year. I've done a TNT show called The Last Ship with Eric Dane, and it's about a ship that goes out to sea and comes back, and there's been a worldwide virus that has taken over lots of the world. I had a small part this summer on True Blood, the HBO show True Blood. I did a short film this fall called The Seer, in which I portray a seer, a fortune teller, or so we think.
Ooh, it sounds like a nice little twist there.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds like you're busy. I mean, it's really nice to see you're doing so many things. I mean, True Blood, Days of Our Life, these are huge shows. I mean, how does it feel knowing that day in and week out you're probably getting offers for like amazing shows? I mean, does it feel like a roller coaster ride from being on the set of Evil Dead to be thrust all these many years later into still very, very hit TV shows and very, very in-demand shows?
Well, you're very kind. I mean, after Evil Dead was shot and filmed, they're all, 4 out of the 5 of us, there were only 5 characters in Evil Dead, and three girls that I still remain very good friends with as ladies of the Evil Dead, and we go basically all over the world to conventions and meet the fans and sign autographs. And it's a really popular question that we're asked, and we never actually ever felt that Evil Dead would be the cult classic that it is worldwide. But I took a break from acting, and I had a business of my own, and we raised a family, and our kids are grown now, and so I've been really lucky and fortunate to land the roles that I have in the last 5 or 6 years, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun to be back and working at working.
Yeah, well, seriously, congratulations. I mean, I've been such a big fan of Evil Dead. I mean, I'm a big horror nut. I mean, that's how I end up working and doing the marketing on these crazy horror films. And I get to meet people like you, which is amazing. I mean, one day when I first started, I never thought I'd be speaking to you. And then a year later, here we are. We're speaking on chat. And I've taught you how to use Skype. I feel quite
you not only taught me how to use Skype, but now you see what a mess my office is.
And it's been broadcast to the world.
Broadcast to the world. But let me tell you, I know where every single thing is behind me, so don't try anything.
So do you think we should do a little test, like just to see? So where's the keyboard then, without turning around?
Oh, the keyboard's in front of... Oh, the musical keyboard is over there? Over there? No, over there.
Over there. Your left. Yeah.
Yeah, back there.
There we go. So
standing up.
It is indeed. See, you might be psychic after all. I mean, you're a perfect role for being this clairvoyant. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you very much for joining me on the show, Betsy. It's been lovely speaking to you. Best of luck with Lake Eerie, and we need to get you over to London soon for a Comic-Con of some sorts. I'll try and make it happen. I really will.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was great speaking with you, Sean. thank you for helping me out today technologically. I'm so grateful. And everybody, donate. Be a part of Lake Eerie. Come on in. The water's fine.
And last but not least, have a lovely Christmas and a great New Year.
And the same wishes back to you, Sean, to you and your family. Thank you so much.